Hello and welcome to Telecom TV. I'm Martin Warwick and we're on the road again. We're in Amsterdam at the RAI Exhibition Centre and it's Broadband World Forum 2014. I'm talking with Ronan Kelly, who is the CTO of Adtran. Ronan, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you. Let's talk briefly about Adtran itself. I know you're a big backhaul provider in the US. Tell us how that came about.
Sure. Adtran has long been a provider of mobile backhaul solutions, particularly in its domestic US market. That originally stemmed where there was requirements for N by T1 type services. Adtran became a leading player in the market for what we call EFM services, Ethernet and the first mile services, which we delivered over aggregate T1 links. In more recent years, those services have been delivered over SHDSL links, and in recent times we've started to see some of those services move towards VDSL2 service offerings, again leveraging EFM bonding for resilience and aggregate bandwidth capacity. What we've also started to see a lot of demand for of late is where service providers have invested in significant fibre rollouts, particularly in the US market, much of which has been triggered by new entrants to the likes of Google and that. Many of those service providers want to leverage that fibre asset that they put in the ground, which was originally targeted towards residential applications. They want to be able to leverage that for mobile backhaul applications, business service applications, and they're looking for innovative solutions that give them the peace of mind that they need when they offer an SLA and a committed information rate on a shared medium like a PON architecture, that they have a solution that can deliver that end-to-end SLA for them. And that's where Adtran is carving out new strengths within the market based on some of the solutions that we have today with our Total Access 5000 portfolio and its GPON capabilities.
So Ronan, networks are transforming, as Adtran knows only too well. One of the major causes of this, reasons for this, are two new technologies, SDN and NFV, software-defined networks and network functions virtualization. Is Adtran involved in that, and how do you think it will help your enterprise, your business and your customers going forward?
So firstly, very much so, Adtran's involved in that. Adtran finds itself in the unique position where it's one of the few players that has both sides of the access link. We've got the central office equipment there, but we also have the business customer premise equipment as well, which puts us in a very strong position to leverage the best of both SDN and NFV. Where we're predominantly focused at the moment is on the enterprise side of things. We have put a lot of effort into developing our CPE so that first of all we can consolidate the number of solutions that service providers need to deploy their full service suite. So recently we've launched new products like the Netvanta 4660, which take the best of carrier Ethernet MEF CE 2.0 capabilities and take Adtran's layer 3 IP routing stack that we've had for many, many years and combines that into one single product. That product can offer gigabit services. It can also offer VDSL, bonded VDSL services and bonded SHDSL services. What that allows for is, as a service provider, I can go to market with one product and address 6 different types of application, depending on what my customers' needs are. Where we're now going with that portfolio of products in the next generations is we're separating out the control plane and the data plane. So that way we can allow that piece of equipment, once deployed in the field, to partake in an OpenStack type environment for the future. So that way, as service providers really want to move into that model where they're deploying virtual network functions on an as-needed basis for their customers, we will have the capability to take not only our virtual network functions but also third-party virtual network functions and overlay them onto those CPE. In a similar fashion then, on the service provider side of the network, some of the new innovations in broadband access like our G.fast solutions are leveraging some of the best practices in the SDN arena, where rather than taking the more traditional approach of having fully fledged network elements out in the network, we're taking a more centralized approach which allows management capabilities to exploit the cost benefits of x86 hardware and also have that horizontal scaling capability that comes with a more traditional SDN type environment.
Okay, Ronan, thank you. Now, what types of new services and apps will this network transformation permit?
The way we see things evolving, it's not necessarily about new capabilities, it's more about how you deliver those capabilities. If you take the traditional deployment model for a service provider, let's say day one as a customer, a business customer, I take an internet connection. they deploy a router out to my premises, a technician comes out and installs it, turns it on, etc.
Yep.
Day two, a couple of months down the road, I decide I want to take a firewall service. They send a guy out with a PIX firewall or something like that, it's another truck roll. Day three, I want some sort of WAN acceleration because my broadband connection's a bit skinny and I want to try and speed up applications over it. Another box gets sent out. That whole model is very, very costly, it's very slow to deploy. If we take today's generation of consumers are being groomed to expect everything instantly. If you take the Netflix generation, the users of services like iTunes, people using things like Amazon Kindle, if I want a book, if I want a new album, if I want to watch a movie, it's instant. So the consumer base have been groomed to expect when I order a new service, I get it straight away. So when we move into an NFV type model, that ability to be able to drop virtual network functions onto the appliances without having to dispatch another piece of equipment out into the field, without incurring the cost and delay of a truck roll, will give service providers that distinct competitive advantage over the players that cannot offer equivalent services.
Not only do they want it instantly, Ronan, they want it to be perfect in terms of no packet loss, no degradation of picture, and they want it cheaply. It's a tall order, isn't it?
It is indeed, but we feel that's where our converged solutions that offer the Carrier Ethernet 2.0 capabilities give that control and give that visibility to the service provider over the quality of the link so they can control that end user quality of experience and make sure it's at the level that their SLA says it should be.
Final question then to you, Ronan, if I might. Let's have a look at OSS and BSS. Always a Cinderella, always a back office function, but a very important one. There's a problem of integration, especially when you come to SDN and NFV. Is that going to be a real pressure point, a pain point going forward?
I think it's widely recognized within the industry that one of the biggest barriers to change and one of the biggest barriers to new service introduction for service providers is the cost and delay associated with introducing new vendors into that OSS environment and subsequently the BSS environment that feeds into that. One of the strong focuses within the vendor community has been to try and simplify that process. And what we're starting to see in the SDN space is a shift towards, you're getting a critical mass forming around capabilities with the likes of NetConf and stuff like that, standard modeling languages with Yang modeling, etc. And also capabilities with the likes of OpenStack to be able to provision directly down or effectively program the network. So what many of the vendors are working towards is a standard API interface that the existing OSS systems can talk through and program those network elements. In the old days, when operators had to import MIB structures, and many of those MIB structures were proprietary implementations, there was significant cost and delay in integrating those new vendors into the systems. As we move to standard models today, using the likes of Yang modeling and NetConf, we've now got a standard API interface, which means things can be rolled out much, much faster. So the OSS barrier of old we see being lowered in the future thanks to many of the innovations that have come across from the efforts in that SDN arena.
Well, all I can say is well done. That's been a tricky interview, not because it's been difficult for us, but because of the noise from outside, people throwing glasses about, pneumatic drills, God knows what else, but we got through it. Ronan Kelly, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.